Anime this season has been consistent with dropping really decent shows that provide that breath of fresh air and excitement that the community loves to indulge in. A couple months ago we got series like Spy Family and Tomodachi Game dropping, which are both really dope and loved shows, especially when talking about Spy Family, as I don't think anyone anticipated it to get the response and recognition that it got from its first season, as it completely blew up. Coming off that, we are now in the middle of the summer season for anime, with hits such as Call of the Night giving us that really dope aesthetic and new vibe with amazing use of colour and lighting, and of course the second season of Classroom of the Elite dropping, along with our new mystery thriller and throwback to Re:Zero, Summertime Rendering. But aside from all these shows, there's been a complete lack of sports anime recently for me to enjoy personally, and just only a few days ago I came across this new football series from Production IG, and it somehow became the best thing that I've seen all year. Aside from standard battle manga, sports Animanga is by far my favourite genre to watch and enjoy. There's something about series such as Hajime no Ippo or Slam Dunk that gives me that feeling that no other genre can replicate. The most recent sports series I've watched was the latest season of Haikyuu, so it's been a fair bit of time since I've seen another sports anime catch my attention as this anime did. The anime is called Ashi, and it's a series dedicated to the sport of football, and even though I'm not even into football like that, it managed to make me feel a certain type of way with every other episode. I'll try not to give away any heavy spoilers in this video because I truly want you to give this anime a chance. The premise of Ashi is essentially a young aspiring athlete from a small town in Japan called Ashita who is attempting to become a professional footballer. The story starts off with a brief introduction into Aoi playing a football game in his local town, and we get a glimpse of his personality. Just like most sports anime MCs, Aoi loves his respective sport, and due to the environment that he's in, he comes off as quite a selfish and naive player who craves the spotlight. Like, bro calls himself the reincarnation of any famous footballer you can name. However, this changes drastically later on as Aoi comes across a manager from a prestigious youth team called Esperion. Aoi is definitely not the ideal player, especially for a team as well known as Esperion. The guy wasn't even playing any proper positions or showing any care for using formations, but there's a certain part of his playstyle that places him as such a valuable asset to a team and shows that he has immense potential. The manager and Aoi relay over the game that he just played, and this leads to us discovering a glimpse of what Aoi's true talent and special ability is: his incredible vision. Aoi managed to perfectly describe every player's position and moves, including the opposite team's spot-on post-game, and the author essentially describes it as him watching over everyone from above as if he was a crow, and the trigger seems to be the glow in his eyes. This leads to his best shot at joining a professional football team, from him joining a youth team in Tokyo from a super rural part of Japan, and this was Aoi's biggest challenge yet. In such a short time frame of only a couple episodes, the author managed to establish what kind of person Aoi is, his lackluster skill set, and the environment that he was previously in, which leads to such amazing growth for his character. Even though he was shown to be a pretty good striker in the match we see him play in his local town, after joining Esperion, a proper youth team that has been stated multiple times throughout the season to be not a casual football club but a team that is essentially building up to the pro league and even the world stage, Aoi is sent right back to ground zero, and he's shown that he's now competing at a whole nother level in which he never anticipated, and it completely changed the environment that he was previously in. He had to learn the fundamentals and the pure basics of football, and throughout more than half of the season, Aoi is basically playing catch up with the rest of his team. I think that factor of Ashi is what got me so invested in staying for the weekly ride to see where the story will head to. It's such a realistic approach to reaching something as competitive and difficult as professional football, and the journey of Aoi starts from ground zero, which is something that you don't often see within a sports anime or manga. His selfish demeanor when playing comes back to haunt him throughout his starting days with his new team, and core aspects of football such as playing a triangle formation to pierce through the opposing team's defense and ultimately score is the baby steps that he follows in order to become a player that not only doesn't weigh the team down but elevates them, which is both a goal for him and the entire team. Most, if not all, mainstream sports anime manga fall under the shonen demographic, but with Ashi it follows a different approach to them, with it being classed as a seinen sports series, and from watching up to the current episode out right now, it's quite noticeable when taking into account the main themes and the way the story is constructed. Seinen class anime and manga usually go into more adult/young adult targeted themes, and with Ashi we see the responsibilities that the main character and his peers have and the reality of what they are pursuing. Things such as Aoi joining the youth team and moving so damn far away from his hometown at such a young age with essentially his family's life savings portrays to us the responsibility that he has to ensure that he succeeds not only for his love for the sport but to help his family who has risked pretty much everything for this opportunity. This is the reality of his situation, and the story is always throwing you through a loop with these constant twists and reality checks. Just when you think the main character is on a good streak, he comes against a roadblock and you just can't help but feel a certain type of way for him. The story is definitely focused on Aoi and his journey, but the integration of the side characters and their involvement in the story is pretty damn good so far. A lot of them challenge Aoi, which in turn leads to some development in his playstyle. Characters like Tachibana, Hana and Otomo are that sense of balance that keeps the environment cheery and provides some good laughs. And we also got the ideal player type of character who's essentially what the main character aspires to be, and we see him adopt some of his fundamental moves such as twisting your head at almost every second into his kit to improve as a player. There's also a Hisoka creepy ass character in the show as well, and aside from showing us the skill of a Team A Asperion player, bro just torments the MC and makes his life and training even more difficult than it already is. Like, I legit don't know what his problem is. We even got a Kisuke / Aizen type of character with the manager of the team, and I'm deadass not kidding. He has that laid back personality, and this guy wears sandals sometimes for some reason, and basically everything he predicts / says comes to be. He's an anomaly and provides most of the major twists that the story has shown us so far. He clearly knows what he's doing with the risks that he takes, and I'm waiting to see what his next plan is for the team, and of course Aoi, as he's the whole reason he's in the team. In terms of the anime itself and how it compares to the manga, Production IG, which are the animators for this season, do a lot of sports series that you've probably heard of before, like Kuroko no Basket or Haikyuu, and with Ashi they did a really decent job with the adaptation. The anime looks good from a visual standpoint, everything looks clean and there's rarely any bad shots, however there's nothing over the top either. But considering the contents of the anime and the fact that Ashi doesn't have any flashy moves like the quick or the zone, but rather it focuses on tactics and fundamentals, so I think it's perfectly fine that the animation is how it is. Things that stood out to me from how they adapted the series was the way the characters' expressions were shown. How a lot of the key moments made me feel a certain type of way was mostly because of the expressions that the characters were showing. Like with the manager of Asperion, and when he found out about Aoi's talent, he had some crazy expression that made the reveal as impactful as it was. Or even when Aoi got a present from his mom, and instead of being happy or excited, he had this determined look on his face, which was the result of all the sacrifice made and the responsibility that he has. For some reason, the animes decided to go crazy on the opening for the second core. The colors were super vibrant, the minor details looked really crisp, and the movements from the characters felt really real. I don't know how else to describe it, but you should most definitely check it out for yourselves. The anime is truly fantastic, and even though there's only about 20 episodes out right now, I can already tell that it's going to take us on a journey, and I'm totally here for it. My favorite anime I've seen this season, and pretty much all year. If you haven't checked it out yet, definitely give it a go. You can for sure enjoy the series even if you know nothing about the sport. As I said earlier, we are straight up placed at ground zero, and we are learning alongside the main character. I can't wait for new episodes to drop. I'm probably going to pick up the manga when the anime finishes because I really mess with the art style. I think it looks really dope, and there's almost 200 more chapters for me to catch up to. The twists that they keep throwing at you got me hooked, so I don't think I'm gonna wait for the next season even if the adaptation stays consistent with it. Thank you if you made it this far into the video. I appreciate you for hearing me out on this amazing series that I just covered. Subscribe and like if you want to see more content like this. Check out my other stuff if you want to see more, and I'll catch you in my next upload. Peace.